Hello one and all, and welcome to this new series of Kerbal Space Program. I'm Swift and I'll be your host. The general gist of this mini-series, as you might have imagined, is Kerbal Space Program, but also a sort of mod spotlight, as well as just general gameplay. To start off, our mission is to head to Duna in a style of Mars Direct. We're going to be getting a return vehicle put there, then landing down some Kerbals and the rover as well, and then getting them back to Kerbin. The first thing to do, though, is we want to go to Duna. We don't know where we want to go on Duna yet. So to do that, the first mod I'm going to be showing you guys is MapSat. Let me just build a drone real quick. Really simple thing. Will just be the basic core. Let's see. Let's put on some solar panels, some batteries, maybe put an engine on there too, one of these ion engines they put in with 1.8. Useless for everything except maneuvers, but hey. Oh, that's right. There it is. And I don't know why it's in aerodynamic, but here it is, the ISA MapSat, topography mapping satellite. The basic gist of it is, it's a little dish you put on your drone, and then you put it in orbit around a planet, and it automatically starts mapping it, creating an image of the planet with sort of highlighting the topography. There's also a GPS unit, which doesn't actually record maps, but lets you, it points you to locations that you've marked, places like, you know, the KSC or the monoliths is a big one as well. It'll point you in the direction of those. So that's quite cool. Anyway, this little thing here is our drone. Very, very simple thing. Let me just put a... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'll also show you the payloader mod. That's that. Let's just leave it at that. Payloader. Awesome little mod. Should be good enough. I should also note that the parts I'm using are from the KV rocketry mod. Things like this fairing, for example. Rather useful. So, if we save that there, I'll show you what the payloader mod is. So, be right back a moment. Alright then, so this is the payloader screen. It's going to be a bit odd in the video because I'm using fraps and it really doesn't like alt entering. I'm actually just recording the payloader window. So this is just a small window that sits on your desktop. The way you use it is you're playing KSP, you build something, then literally you just alt tab out, run the application, and you get this screen. You pick your save game from this list here, in this case it's just Swift. Pick a launch vehicle. I've actually got one pre-built. I built just before I started recording, the probe lifter. And the payload. In this case, we want the MapSat to be the payload. And then you type in what you want it to be called, the finished product. So let's call it the MapSat lifter. Click this little button here, and you see it says saved. So, I'll see you back in KSP. Okay, so we're back in KSP. We've got the MapSat here, but if we look in the load thing, there is now MapSat lifter. It wasn't there before. If we load it up, you'll see the rocket that I constructed earlier, which is, of course, over-engineered monstrosity, as I want to do. And your payload, right there. Now, this is incredibly useful if you built a rocket that's very complicated and it can be used for multiple things, but you want to change the payload out. Before, you'd have to rebuild the whole damn thing, unless you built the control into the rocket itself. In this, you basically build a rocket. In this case, I built this on its own. You just need to like put a command pod and a decoupler on the top, and then I saved it as its own entity. Then I created this. You just need to put, again, a decoupler on the bottom, save it, and you can do this. Boom. Done. Full rocket. So then, with this thing, I'll be taking the satellite to Duna, hopefully. Ooh. One thing I did forget to add is these docking clamps. There we go. That should do. Right then. Huh. So let's see. We'll save that as the mapsat lifter and head to the launch pad. Okay, so we're out here on the launch pad. Oh yes, that's another mod. It's the, I believe it's the runway and VAB obliterator. It basically eliminates the launch tower, as you can see. Gives you loads of room. This also comes with a little feature that lets you, while you're in the VAB building a rocket, eliminate it so you can go as tall as you like. There are physical limits. If you go too high, the game will crash, but it does mean that I can build my oversized rockets in peace without having to fight over space. Anyway, so the first thing we need to do if we're going to Duna is... Oh, perfect, actually. You want Kerbin and Duna to be at roughly this sort of alignment. Duna in this sort of region. Looking at it with Kerbin at the sun's 3 o'clock, you want this to be between 1 and 3. It's about 2, half 1-ish, that sort of region. Anyway. I was thinking we might have to spend ages waiting for it to cycle round, but that should be cool. So, without further ado, let's get the fuck into space. Oh, I see you. Hold on. I'll get it. There we go. Anyway, to space. And lift off. For the first part, same as always, we're just going to fly straight up. After a little while, we'll start to do a gravity turn towards the east. If the ship stops rotating. Oh yeah, I've got this set up with... Well, I'm a dumbass. Okay. Yeah, so that's what happens if you don't pay attention to your overheat gauge. So, yeah. But I guess I'll end the mission. And before I forget, actually, something that I often forget to do is just slap some solar panels on the outside there so that I won't run out of electricity halfway through. So, minor corrections, save, and back out to the launch pad. Okay then, so let's try this again, but this time, let's not explode by taking heed of the overheat gauge. But without further ado, to space! Turn on the SAS before I forget. And start watching... There we go. Overheating like a maniac. I guess that's understandable, what with there being 5 huge engines right next to each other. Overheat seems to be being managed just fine. Drop away. Oh yes, as I was saying, I'm using asparagus staging in this, which is something I don't see that often. The basic gist of it is you've got 4 tanks around the main engine. Each of the 2 outer tanks feed into the 2 inner tanks, and the 2 inner tanks feed into the central tank. This basically means that the outer tanks run out of fuel first, you can ditch them and lose the weight. Makes things quite a bit more efficient. As you can see down on the fuel gauge here, the central engine has about twice the fuel of these 2. Or, well, of these 2, yes, because these 2 are feeding all their fuel into them there while also using it to propel the ship. And you'll notice that once we ditch them, it shows up as full. Anyway, I believe that should be high enough for now. Let's start a gravity turn. Oh, not too hard. So not to go crazy. Speaking of, actually. 86. Actually. We could stop thrusting right there. We don't need to go that high into orbit. So, this gives us a bit of time to deal with the completely insane spin that I've managed to put myself into. And slowly, slowly, slowly bank the rocket towards the horizon. It's probably an easy way to do this. To be honest, I really should start using more RCS. Or like at least SAS. Oh, stop. And hold it there. Okay, so we've still got quite a lot of fuel in this stage, but that stage to go, and then this stage at the top is itty-bitty fuel tank with a nuclear engine that's mainly for manoeuvring around Duna, because we'll probably need to do that. So, apoapsis in 50 seconds. It's... oh yeah. $20 seconds. You know, I'll start thrusting now. So I get the impression that we're going to need quite a lot of thrust. Because I did forget to do a gravity turn until it was too late, apparently. Oh well. That's what absurd amounts of thrust is for. Point upwards a bit. Yeah, there we go. As long as the apoapsis is in front of us, we're fine. If you aim up... oh. Ha! As long as you pay the fuck attention, you'll be fine. Get the fuck out of here. So it's me, right? Oh well. So we'll probably still have enough fuel. Probably. Gonna have to waste some pointing upwards, though, to move the apoapsis forward. Here. Oh well. It wouldn't be Kerbal Space Program if there wasn't the occasional fuck-up. Apoapsis is back out in front of us. Not convinced. Any overheating going on? Nope. Good. Getting there. Slowly but surely. Off to the side, apparently. Almost there. Anytime now. There we go. We have a periapsis. Let's get it up above 70. It doesn't really matter how horrible your orbit is as long as it's not in the atmosphere. Good.